Oh god. Alphas. Oh. Level. Oscar. God, I hear. Ah. Oh. Huh. Oh, there we go. Much better. Yeah, I don't know why you guys couldn't. That was weird. Oh well, it's all fixed now. So anyways, we're doing random pals, random look, random everything. It's all random. There we go. I think that'll help. Maybe. Hopefully. I think you guys can hear me now. Yes, you can hear me now. I feel like Verizon right now. Can you hear me now? How about now? Now, 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 now. The webcam is on virtual, so they can't see you no matter what you do. I would have warned you if it was otherwise. Do 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 do.
I've been telling you to stream more. so I could get more money so I can get another Babaloo.
Oh Lord. I've just been having trouble motivating, babe. It's chaos all the time, and
It's a
yeah,
lot
and it doesn't
easier.
help that when I stream, you don't want to be out here.
Because when you stream, I can't carry a conversation with you.
I get that, but by not being out here, you're also creating an environment where I don't want to stream. So you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Like, I don't even like being out here when you're constantly in game because it's the same feeling, you know? And I still put myself through coming out.
I get that, honey. Do 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 do.
Like, $430 is what I need for Kiwi.
For what?
Kiwi.
Oh, I don't think I'm getting that today, honey. But you never know. A Dogan. Oh, I wish I could get that. That would be so good right now. Yes, dear. It is pinging. All right, there we go. I had to help Amanda find her phone. She's very cute.
She's perfect. She talks, she doesn't swear, but just give her time. She'll come around to me.
Yeah, give her time. She'll start swearing up a storm. Ooh, I do like beachfront property. Ow. You waking up, little man? Yeah, the reason we don't have the actual webcam going today is I got little man asleep on my chest right now. And kids are still home from school, so it's really hard to do that. Although currently two of them are in trouble, so it's actually pretty quiet today.
Kids are out.
If only I had a fishing pole. What do we got there? Pal merchant. I did get that chest early on, so we might be able to buy a pal from him. Which would be really convenient considering we still don't have a pal. Come here, Mr. Pal Merchant. Let's see what you got. Uh, talk to me. Talk to me. You got nothing I can afford. I would have loved one of those herbals. I hear music. Is something attacking me? I'm scared. A Palumba. I've never even seen one of those. Ooh, Palsphere. What level's that chill at? 33. Definitely not gonna be able to catch that. I do like this spot to build at. Oh, she would be really good, but 38. I haven't found any low level pals yet. It would be great to find a low-level pal. Ooh, an egg. That's good. Yeah, give me the egg. Give me the egg. I'll make an omelet. I mean, what? I didn't say that. What we got out here? Those are big and scary. I'm gonna bet they're higher level. You watch. Yeah, 22 and oh my God, 62. The 22. If we had a pal, we could have probably knocked down and caught. But excuse me, not like this. Not like this. Not like this. Oh God, that's Anubis. A level 70 Anubis. Oh no. Oh my God. Every time I stream. Ooh.
You didn't even get the memo? Sterling's not here. I haven't had any phone calls.
Alright, can you go outside? Or
He's
like
sitting
something
in-
with the
hold
dog?
on. Come on, Ranger. Ranger.
How are you doing here?
Oh, you know, as soon as I try to stream, things
We
happen.
haven't had any phone calls come in at all for the past 3 days.
Which phone are you calling?
You have that number for you?
Yeah, that's his.
You can try to call that.
Your
See?
phone.
That would be why. You need to be calling her phone.
And then always.
Like my phone is a if you can't get a hold of her on her phone kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Ow.
Yeah, I didn't get no texts
Yeah,
yet.
Curly House is Curly's house been trying to hold you all week.
Why
We've been
Floppy.
getting you all week.
Nope, I have. Hold on.
She's getting discharged
Monday?
on Monday.
Okay. Yeah, I turned around. Normally they do family counseling, and before family counseling,
Alright, Can you guys
they
like
they send out an email to remind me. They didn't even.
what I'm saying is
send-
you're close to the microphone?
So they didn't even send me a reminder about it. So I missed that. And I'm like, okay. That's weird. Yeah. That's weird. But in here, it's all messed up. So Monday. Yeah.
Yes. Pals that we can actually throw a spear
I
at.
have Jasmine's cell Sit down.
Alright, give me the luck. Give me the luck. Yes, we got the luck. Come out and help me with stuff.
Wherever my phone went. Everything's like,
Now we have a reason to level up.
my phone's MIA.
How do you do this?
Leave it to me. Let me tell you. It's in the room.
There we go. Okay. Oh, thank you, cat. I appreciate that. That was actually quite helpful. Yeah, give me all the pal spheres. Oh, do you not have the ability to help out with that? You do. Why aren't you helping me? There we go. Good job, my little cat friend. And let's see what else we can make. We need a pickaxe. We need... Oh, we don't have enough for an axe. We need some more stone. I guess it's a good thing I made the pickaxe first, right? My little pickaxe. Ah!
I think I know why you guys couldn't get in touch with me. Yeah, my phone's out of service. So I have to go pay the bill.
Boost.
Ozzy.
Unlock the card.
Oh, you're doing it?
Yeah.
Okay. Ozzy down.
It's a lot easier on the phone than on your... I mean, on the computer than on your phone. At least I thought it was. It is boost, right?
Yeah.
How are we supposed to receive a code when...
So the code is 677558.
Lovely. None of the passwords are saved. How is the password not saved?
Return transmitter.
Can you give me the code again?
232. Oh wait, new code 638897.
638897. What was the other one?
And it's working. Oh, never mind.
You used the code, didn't you? They're one-time use codes.
No, that was in.
Sending another one. Here. Now? There. You should be all set now. Or you will be as soon as it goes through. It's still showing suspended, but oh, I want that Ozark so bad. That's not fair. Good. Yeah, I paid this month and next month. That way we don't have to worry about you, like,
Doing this again?
yeah.
The problem is we have it for automatic.
Yeah, but with us locking the card,
Exactly.
automatic does nothing. I need a bow, I need some arrows, and I need some clothing. Yes, I'm well aware I don't have enough cold resistance. Definitely gonna need a wrench and some berries. There we go.
Robot. Justin, it's in the green. I'm sorry I missed your phone calls there.
Well, I like this spot. We're gonna keep this spot. Mainly because I think we'll be able to build that onto the water and that'll be cool. So, boom. This is our spot.
We had,
Infrastructure. Let's build our friendo a bed. I'm just gonna build it right there for now.
she was in, Sarasota. You can get on with the Sarasota.
Alright, foundations.
So
Let's get ourselves the beginning of a base.
at like the last and I tell you, like the last 2 weeks of school, last 2 weeks of part of it.
Alright, now let's get rid of the PAL box. Just like that. And then we'll build the PAL box
You know, it's like this is ridiculous.
right there.
So they turn around and still continue the step.
Beauteous. I think that works.
Finally, they booted her from
And let's do the same with the PAL bed.
have,
Infrastructure bed.
and I'm like, are you kidding me? So we tried to get her back in at Sarasota. And I specifically told this person not mention because it just denied. Well, maybe they won't. You know, she used to go there. I'm like, yeah, we referred her out to be tested to get that.
Alright. We got a pretty good start now. We've already died twice. But in my defense, you know, random PAL levels is really hard. I did forget to get that fast travel thing. However, I really, really, really want that Ozark. Oh my god. Long way away from being able to tame him, though. Need a wood chest, a primitive workbench, and a pallet. Deploy a pallet to base. So we'll build our primitive workbench right here for now. Love it. Let's get a shield so I at least have one hit that I won't die. There we go. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and deploy Cat Friend. And we're going to see, let's give him some storage before I go to fill up. This is actually a really good starter pal for your base. Why am I using the pickaxe? That's just silly. Alright, there we go. I'm going to put this right there. There we go. And if I'm right, Cat should transport too. If not, we'll just have to get more pals. I mean, that's the plan anyway. That's the whole game, right? Why is that berry bush look so weird? I guess it was just because it was stacked on top of each other. I don't know. We're looking for more pals. More pals and stuff. We're gonna have to eat some of these berries soon. Oh, we need to make food for our pal. There's a chest in a berry bush. Okay. Works for me, I suppose. We got, what are those, Ophidias? Whatever it is, they don't swim very well. Tropica. Flerical. Hey, a Lambo. Come here, Lambo. Yay, Lambo. Ooh, there's a fruit. Ignis Blast? Really? Okay. I think that Ozark is aggressive. Oh, that's not gonna be good for us. We're gonna get pwned. Maybe we can sneak around him. He's definitely aggressive. He just owned that poor whatever that was. At nighttime, though, he'll be asleep, and if we get defensive structures, we can probably just build him into a little structure to hold him until we can tame him. Oh, God! No, don't hurt me! Get the fast travel. Okay, we got the fast travel. Ha! Look at that cheat code. Now you see me, now you don't. And he's like literally right over there. Open. Alright, he didn't transfer anything, but he's a working away. That's good. Alright, let's get Lambo out and doing some stuff. Oh, I can't get Lambo out. What do I need to build? Nothing. Good. Alright. Repair bench, shoddy bed, campfire.
Not like me at all. And I'm not like that. I'm normally like right on.
Need more wood. Feel like a lumberjack man. The hell? Something just hit me. Am I crazy? My axe break? Is that what happened? I don't know. Yeah.
This is all.
There we go. All right. Now, what do we need to build? We need a shoddy bed. And a campfire. And then I know we need berry plantations. Now the question is, yeah, I want them stacked. So what we're gonna do is, do I have any points? Hopefully I have some points. All right, what do I got here? We got the tavern, wooden tavern cabinet furniture set, wooden living room furniture set. I think that will do it. Let's see what that gives us before I go buying any more. Yes, this is what I was looking for. Wooden bench and stool. I think the wooden bench is what I want right now. We're just gonna put that right in the middle.
In the world. And
We're gonna build another one right in the middle. Hey, stack. Stack, you pain in the butt. Don't want to stack. What are you mowing about? Cat friend, where are you meowing at? Oh, he's resting. Okay, that's fine. You've been working hard. You deserve a rest. There we go. Alright, now let's do this again. Up. There you go. That's what I was looking for. I'm hoping this will work. Alright, food, farming. Alright, no, I knew I needed to get it, like, so that it would stack on top of that. So how are we gonna do that, is the question.
do knuckles. Give her knuckles.
And we're just gonna do this.
Alright. Have a good day, guys. I'm Jerry.
Take care.
So happy you guys are alive.
Me too.
I guess I gotta jump onto this thing here to do this one. It's not a perfect stack, but hopefully it'll give us the structure we need to build the berry patch. Really? You're not gonna go one higher? There we go. That's what we're looking for. Then we can disassemble. Those two. And build the next one right underneath it as soon as I find the right button. There we go. Not perfect, but hey, it is what it is. What is hurting me? Oh, I stepped in the fire. Because I'm smart. I think we'll get rid of the top one. We'll only have 3, but we're going to get rid of the top one because I don't like the way it looks. I don't like it being out from the wall, you know. Not that it's going to be on the wall, but, you know. What can I say? I just didn't like it. Alright, come on. You know you want to get right where I want you to be. Come on. I wish we could go up, build upward with it, but it just doesn't work that way, unfortunately. I know it overlaps. That was the whole point. You know what? Screw it. We're just going to have 2. Only need 2. Oh, there goes the wall. That was smart. Alright, put the wall back. Berry plantation. Put that there. And there we go. I wonder, can I do like I do with the pillow and put this in the center here? Of course not. That would be too easy. That's okay, though. Because, I mean, that's 2 berry plantations. Nice, neat, clean, tidy. Beautiful. It's so beautiful. Do, 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 do. That's how we work the day away in the merry old land of Oz. Alright. Wrong button. We want this button. Upgrade to base. We need a feed box and more straw beds. Now, the straw beds we are going to do the wall thing with because I do not want to waste a ton of space on beds. Now, I don't know that the bench is going to be tall enough. We might have to go with the bar stool. So there's that. But first off, let's build this out a little ways. Build a couple more walls. And we're going to try it with the bench. We're going to practice and see if it'll work. But I think the bench is too short. That's how I should have done it right there for those. I forgot about turning the darn thing. Why are you... There we go. That's what we want. Alright, now, infrastructure, palpet. Yes. And then, is it going to be 1 bench that I can do this at? Or is it 2 benches I need? You're being a pain. Oh, we almost had it. Where is it? Where's the magic? There, it's a magic. Cannot overlap with other objects. Alright, so it's looking like... Looking like 2 bench tall is... Yeah, 2 benches tall is what we need for this particular pallet. So not bad. It's not a bad situation. So on this one, we're going to go all the way up. We'll do it 3 Can we get 3? Yeah, we'll do 3 tall. Because while we're doing it, we might as well do it right. 1. And build it. Nice little tutorial for you all on how to stack things that aren't supposed to be stackable. Meow, 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 meow. Alright, so we've got 1 there, 1 on the bottom. Oh my god. Ranger? Knock it off. Enough. This dog. Ranger. Nobody has knocked at the door. Now they've knocked at the door. Babe. Somebody's here.
Just called
Oh, Healy House?
yeah.
Oh, okay, that's why I'm here.
Yeah,
Because no one's getting in touch with you.
Madre de
because
Dios.
my phone is set for auto pay. However, the card that it's linked to, we always lock it. So what's the point of auto pay when your card's always locked?
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
So I paid it a couple months in advance, so that's
Okay.
not going to happen again.
Healy House and Act have been trying to reach
yeah,
me
I know.
about Scarlet. Okay.
Act was just here.
Oh, okay, cool. They just called me. I was like, oh, I'll pop by. I'm going that way anyway.
Yeah, they literally you just missed them. Not even 5 minutes.
Eric? Or
No.
Oh, okay. I
Her,
would think you'd tell me.
not Eric. One of her.
The newer ladies.
Yeah. They, too many people.
Alright. That was all. I just figured, I was like, I'll pop in and see what's going on.
Yeah.
I know you said something about Delaware, right? Like they wouldn't.
No.
I'll check.
That's up in the air.
Alright. Anything while I'm here?
No.
Sanity.
I do not want to do something. Cool. Alright. So when is she gonna come back then?
They're talking about this charge Monday.
Okay.
So,
Cool. Alrighty then. That was all.
all right.
Alright. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Come on up.
Center.
Alright, we should have enough wood now. We've got enough for 3, which is all we're building. So that's perfect. Beautiful. Look at that. Nice, neat, organized. I love it. Alright, mister. You got plenty of beds to choose from now. We do need to get a watering, a planting, and... Oh, I think Cat does planting, now that I think about it. He does handiwork, transport, and ranch. He does... Yeah, he does gardening, mining, transport, and handiwork. Alright. Perfect. Beautiful. Wonderful. Okay. Now. I don't know why. Oh, it's because of this. That's why. Okay. Let's get some health. I think health is a good idea. Don't you guys? I think it's a great idea. Oh, we can finally make our bow. Let's make our bow while we're at it. Oh, V, that's the button I want. We need a feed box. What are we missing? Wood, of course. That feels really nice. I smelled like food. Am I smelling food?
Yeah, I'm cooking taco.
Oh, nice. Because I am starving. Did you hear that? We're getting tacos. I think my weapon's damaged. Repair all, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a nice day. Oh, look, it's so much faster when your axe isn't a broken piece of trash. Yeah. The hell? Ooh, we get our monitoring stand, our logging site, our stone pit. We don't have our defensive structures yet, which is a little unfortunate. They're right here. This is what we want, wood defense wall. Because then when nighttime comes and that Ozark goes to sleep, we'll trap him inside so that he can't just run around and scare me. Because he's very scary. Very, very, very scary. He's so scary. Alright, and we've got enough for our feed box. We're going to put that right here so they don't have to go very far when they finish grabbing the berries. And let's put half of the berries into the feed box so that they have food and aren't going to get angry at me. Not that they ever really get angry at you, but you know. Need a PAL gear workbench and to deploy 2 more pals. So let's work on getting more pals first. Let's get some more arrows before we go anywhere. Yeah, we're kind of defenseless. Let's see, 100 arrows? Yeah, let's go with 180 arrows. Beautiful. It's a wonderful thing. Oh, all right. There we go. We got arrows. Yay, we got arrows. I have unused stat points. Throw them right in health. We got 15 spheres. We should be able to get something with 15 spheres. That's a freaking Eidolon! Oh my god! What is going on here? I'm gonna get pwned by the Eidolon. He's just randomly floating around here. Like, hey guys, what's up? Hopefully Eidolons aren't a Puffolt. Oh, that would have been so good to get. What do we got there? Flaricle. Thankfully, Flaricles are not aggro. Oh, that was rude. 62% chance, and you're like, no. All right. Let's go see what's going on over there. Did that Ozark die? Nobody's half dead. I have a 0%. Of course I have a 0%. He's asleep right now. Oh. Well, let's talk to this guy while we're here. Oh, he's one of those informational guys. He doesn't give us nothing. Oh, God, it's cold. It's so cold. We are. Oh, messenger of love. Hello, messenger of love. Alright, what do you want me to do? You want me to beckon? Okay, so press 4, emotes, beckon. I will take old bow schematic. Old bow? Is that the one that shoots 3 arrows? I don't know. But I really wish we could capture that puff ult. Alright, let's see what else we got around here. We got the Dynasum Lux, a whole 1% chance. Oh, it's almost worth just the chance that we capture it. Oh, I kind of want to do it. What do you guys think? Should I go for it? I mean, we're not on hardcore. Ah, let's do it. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Won't even let me try. Run away. We're all dead now. In the mistakes show. Mistakes were made. Run away. So many mistakes were made. No, I don't want to hurt you. Oh, you just hurt the puff ult, though. He's not going to be happy about that. I guess he doesn't care. He's like, whatever, dog. I'm out. What do we got here? Polypup Terra. Maybe we can get them to deal with... To deal with the Dynasum Lux. Oh, that would have been so nice, though, if it had let me have the chance to catch it. But no, didn't even give me the chance. It was like, nope. Alright, so... We're very limited on what pals are on this little island. I should have thought about that when I made the base. Like, hey, this is going to be a small island. There are not going to be a lot of choices. But I didn't think about it. Alright, what did I come back here for? Oh, to deploy the Lambo that I just got. Yes. Go, go, power Lambo. Why are you sleeping? Oh, because there's a bed over there. That's why. Duh. You know what? We need the ranch like yesterday. So we need wood, stone, and fiber. Let's get the ranch going so the Lambos can start providing us with wool. I think that's the play right now. We need wool. Oh, seeing that Eidolon right there, just I want to tame it so bad. Like, not tame it, but capture it so bad, but it's just not possible. Alright, let's go back here. What do we have left? Oh, we have everything. I forget, can we build a ranch on top of foundations? That's the question. Because I would rather have everything on foundations just to make my life a little bit easier in the whole... I know we can't do the breeding one on foundations. I should have put Cat in my party and had him help me. That would have been smart. But You know, I only have smart ideas like once a week, and I've already used my idea for this week. Meow, meow, meow. Oh, now you wake up. I just finished mining that big rock, and now you wake up? That's so helpful. Thank you. You are the best pal I have. Yes, sleepyhead. Pal Ranch. And it looks like, yeah, you can't build it on platforms, on foundations. At least that's what it looks like. Okay. Because I'm betting as soon as we're off, it should go green. Really? Okay. So we're gonna build it right here, and we'll just surround it. There we go. I like it. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. I tried so hard. I can't rise above it. Oh God. What's the matter, little man? Oh, you guys are awesome. You went straight in there and you're gonna make me some wool. Love it. I love it. All right, we definitely need to get um a water pal like soon. We need one more pal in general in order to upgrade the base. What is going on over there? Something just got whacked for 909. You saw that, right, everybody? Okay, let's eat some berries. But we need to get a watering pal, and I think that's all we need is a watering pal. Oh, you're really wow. You guys are low light, but can't do it with a regular one. Yeah, little man is upset because Mama's in the kitchen cooking, making dinner, and he's like, "I want to be up your butt. I want to be in there with you, Mom." But we have a gate because obviously kitchen is not a place for a 2-year-old. I really want this puff ult. This is I forgot you're aggro. Oh no. That was not smart of me. Mistakes were made again. Oh, he got me. He got me. It's over. It's all over but the crying. So many mistakes were made. Alright, let's try this again. I want this Capriti knocked as well. I want it so bad. But that's another one. Can't catch with a regular pal sphere. We do need to make more. Oh God, Ozark, no, no, my dude, I'm friendly. I'm not mean. Please don't hurt me. Ozark, no. Why are you so mean? Yeah, going into water when there's an electric type trying to kill you is a great idea, right? Like, let's make yourself more conductive. Oh, he got me. I saw it too, but I thought it dissipated. Nope, it did not dissipate. More mistakes were made. All right, we're gonna try and get across because there's a dungeon over there. We can get some decent resources from that dungeon. Oh, hey, look, there's the first tower. Or no, that's not a tower. Ooh, that's a schematic. We might get something we can use. Oh, and there's a chest. Oh, look at our luck is turning for the better, everyone. Our luck is turning better. What is that? A kitsune knot. Thankfully, not aggressive. Ooh, Tundra outfit. Oh god, what aggro? What aggro? Oh no! No, we are not. No. What are you? Can you help? No, you'd kill us. And you're level 80. You'd really kill us.
Okay?
Oh god. Oh no.
Say, taco.
Oh.
Hot. Blow
Oh,
it.
we are having issues. Oh, it's a great spot for high level pals, but not for me. Let's see. Maybe if we definitely don't. Maybe let's try the Flying Fish Coast. You know, I knew I was gonna die a lot, so I did turn on the you don't drop anything when you die, so we can kind of abuse that a little bit. And so what we'll do, ooh, egg, and of course there's a Rayhound. Because why wouldn't there be a Rayhound right next to the egg that I want to collect? It's alright. There's an egg over there. Let's go over there and get that egg. What is that weird? That is a weird. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know what that is. Oh, I thought that was a good pal. Like, I thought that was a Peglet. I was like, oh, is that a low-level Peglet? That would solve all our problems. No, no problem solved. We are going to get a fire egg. A scorching egg. Sorry, not fire egg, scorching egg. Alright, let's see. Is there anything? I don't think there's anything up here. We'll check anyway, because we can always jump in the water. We got some whale bones. I'm not seeing any pals out here. I was hoping, you know, being the Isle of Fishies, we really need to get to fishing, because that will help us get pals quite a bit quicker. Because right now, what we're struggling with is a lack of mobility. We don't have a flying or a riding pal, which makes getting around a lot harder. It makes escaping from pals a lot harder. That's the big one, is escaping from the pals. Really? Really? Okay. I'll bet you he's super high level too, but at least I don't have to worry about aggroing him. 0.05 capture rate. So technically I could capture him. I wish, like, when you targeted it and it told you the percentage chance, it would tell you the level. All right, let's try this. I'm probably gonna regret it. All right, we're in here. We got some cave mushrooms. Ooh, I love this. Those give nails. I love it. Yes. We got some dog coins. Only 2 dog coins, so. But 2 is higher than 0, so I'm not gonna complain. Not enough stamina. No. Did I use all my stamina dodging? I swear I would never do that. Oh, level 2 Lambles. Let's get them. Get them. Because we still need. We've caught 2. So these will be 3 and 4. Oops, I just wasted that ball. Beautiful. Oh, treasure chest. Give me like a mega ball or something. Nope. A mega ball would be nice. A giga ball would be nice, but no. Oh, wandering merchant. Okay. Okay. So far, no hostile NPCs. Can't really complain about that. What do you got for me, wandering merchant? What do you got? Some marinated mushrooms. You know what? I know we're gonna need some leather soon, so let's get 20 pieces of leather. And let's get the rest in wool. I have a feeling I'm gonna regret it as soon as I look at this pal merchant. Yeah, I regret it. Could have had a dire wolf. Could have had a pangolin. Oh, both of those would have been really smart. But hey, maybe we'll find some more money while we're here. Half of this town is underwater. This poor town. Look at this. Did the residents say, like, are they aquatic residents? Is that what happened here? They're like, we can breathe water. Let's put our house under a waterfall. I'm going to go with no. That's not what happened here. What's in here? Oh, Cinnamoth! Oh my god, Cinnamoth! Give me a good sphere. Give me a good sphere. Oh, you did. Oh, you did. You wonderful treasure chest. You. Come here, Cinnamoth. You are my honey generator. Oh my god. Please work. Please work. Please work. Oh, man. We're gonna spam some balls. Come on. Yes, we got one. And we got two. Yes. 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 That's what we needed. We needed that so bad. Oh. We needed that so bad. And the game came through. It's like, you know what? You've had a rough start of it. Let's go ahead and give you a little help. Oh, hey, some extra technology points. Gotta love some extra tech. I don't know why I would use the level ups on Lambles. Alright. I love it. I love it. Climb the ladder. There's some stuff up here. No stuff up here so far. What's down here? Don't know. Is there anything up there? Could be. Might find some more chests. There's like a trap. I don't know what that's supposed to catch though. Tiny trap. All the way up here to get. Oh, hey, look at that. Another chest. Our exploration paid off. Ooh, what do we get? What do we get? What do we get? Is that ancient tech points? Yes, ancient tech points. I will always take some free ancient tech points. Because we are one level away from our egg incubator. Huge thing for us. Because then we can start just not just, but we can start collecting eggs and getting pals that way. Alright. Oh, oh, oh. I knew that was a bad idea. Knew it was a bad idea and I did it anyway. Oh, let's see what level the boss is. You know what? We can probably catch a level 10 Kilmari. Let's use Cinnamoth to get it down a little bit. Ugh. Oh, that's a good chance. All right, Cinemoth, we're good. We should be able to get it in 7 spheres. Oh, we got it in 1. That is what I'm talking about. Yes. Oh, talk about lucky. And there we go. That's level 10. I'm going to dump this all into health. Alright, level 10. Let's go. Oh, we got 3 levels from that. 3 levels? Did we really? No, we didn't get 3 levels. We got 1 level. Oh, I gotta beat the boss. I forgot about that. Alright, we're definitely gonna need the 3-shot bow. We're gonna need nails. Definitely gonna need the hot spring. That. We're gonna need that. We need the crusher. There's our defensive structure to deal with the Ozer. I wonder if the carpet would work. I don't think it will. The only thing I know that works for the really good plantation trick is the Japanese pillow. Antique storage set. Do I really want that? I don't think I do. I think that's all we want right now. Okay. Sort. We got 7 balls left. We got this stamina lotus. Nice. Very nice. Gotta love the stamina lotus. So we got 2 treasure chests in here. Hopefully we'll get something great out of these. We got an advanced technical manual and a speed remedy. What does this do? Pals? No. It's work speed for me. Might as well use it. We got the old bow schematic. Is that what I just learned was old bow? No, that was 3-shot bow. Old bow is what I'm using now. Okay. Alright. So, the Cinemoth should be able, especially if I give... Ooh, I know what we can do. We can give Ignis Blast to the Cinemoth and go take on the first tower if we can find it. I wonder if that tower that I found that we died going towards is the first tower. So, and if you have any questions, feel free to shout them out. I'm more than happy to answer questions or, you know, talk about all my wonderful mistakes that I've made so far this video. Oh Lord, so many mistakes were made already. Hazard robe, oh, I would love to get that. But guess what? He's level 80. Free pull up. Oh, why are you killing a chickpea if you're a free PAL Alliance believer? That makes literally 0 sense. Stop killing the chickpeas. Stop it. That was rude. I saved the chickpea by capturing it. I don't know why he's capturing, like, killing. He's supposed to be like, the pals need to be free, not out here killing them. Makes 0 sense. Can I capture him? I guess not. Hey, that works. I'll take it. We got some gold coins and some med supplies. That Azeroth just bouncing around like nothing's happening, like, at all. Like, whatever. You're a new face. Don't tell me, outsider. Not that it matters to me. Now that you're on this island, why not try to catch some pals? You can catch. Well, you can get extra XP for capturing up to 5 of the same kind. You know what they say. Pal tamers get stronger the more pals they capture. Here, take this. I've got high hopes for you. I'm sure you do. Worry wart farmer. Oh God. Oh, are you an adventurer? Perfect timing. Could you deliver this special dish to the settlement nearby for me? Give it the super dependable looking one. You'll recognize him right away. What? Why don't I take it by myself? Well, it's just the dish smells so good the pals keep swarming me. And I can't get anywhere near the place. So, I'm gonna die while talking to you. What killed me? Oh my god, an Elizabeth. Oh, that was brutal. It's alright, we need to go back up here anyway. The Elizabeth got me. The one that I need to tame sometime soon. Alright, you guys still have food. That's good. Let's get some pals into the work base. We want to get a Cinemas in here. What do? Oh, you water! You're a water pal! Oh god, let's get the base upgraded. Okay, pal workbench. Let's go. Oh, what do we need? We need wood and cloth. We need cloth. Oh god. Actually, we have wool. I bought wool. And I know these guys have been generating some wool. Alright, we're doing pretty good now. Let's get some cloth made. All the cloth. Make all the cloth. What, is nobody gonna come help me with this? You know, just gonna watch your master work tirelessly? I can't. I know you're on a break, but you could take a break from taking a break to come help me so that I can take a break. Let's see. Let's go health again. Since we're getting our faces rolled. Okay, now we need some wood. Let's get some wood. Let's perform deforestation. If this world wasn't already in trouble with the sheer amount of wood that you end up chopping down, as a single player, imagine the world with multiple players. The ozone and oxygen generation would be in deep trouble. Thankfully, it's a digital world. I really want one of those. Oh, I want one of those so bad. But the fact they're coming this close to my base is very scary. Put that right there for now. Yes, I know the base does not look very impressive at the moment, but it will at some point in the near future. I think they're far enough away they shouldn't aggro me. At least I hope they won't. Alright, there we go. Now we got room. I'm going to keep the chickpea with me, but we're going to put Kilmari. While in party, modifies the performance of the Eclipse glider. Enables gentle floating while gliding for an extended time. Oh, that's cool. I don't have a glider yet, but I'm glad that you do that for me. But right now, I need you in the base generating water for me on my plantations. Oh my god, these tacos look amazing. Oh, they're so good looking. Thank you, love.
Because I did all this, I expect a really good date night tonight.
Yes, dear. Oh, you guys would be so jealous of me right now. Oh, so good. Get the small feed bag so the pals that are with me no longer get hungry. Well, they'll get hungry, but they'll eat. So as long as I keep, food on me, food in that slot, we're good. Anything else I need to make? I really should make a Tundra outfit. But I think we're okay for now. Let's make a bunch more pal balls. I'll squeeze. Oh, Jesus. I put my plate in the wrong spot. I put it in a very bad spot. Mm. All right. We now have our berries automating, which is very nice. We're going to put in this, put in on our egg, take out that because we're going to teach that to a cinnamoth.
Do you want more?
Put in the leather. We'll take out the nails. All right. We're looking pretty good now. Things are looking up. We do need to make a primitive, which we need flame organs. So if we see some flame pals, we'll murder them, but otherwise... Oh, you guys are just putting in the work. You're putting in the work. You're so awesome. Crusher, stone pit, logging site. We'll do that when we get back after we go and hopefully... I don't think that's going to be the first spot. Island Silence Church Ruins, Island Murmurs. Wait, those are fast travel points. Now, if I remember right, there was one right across over here. It was either a tower or... Let's see, we've got a reveal tower there. We've got... I want to say that's a schematic tower. We're going to try and see... Oop, hey, I got that in the wrong spot. Hi. Daddy, daddy, what? You not have yours yet? Ah. What are you doing, child? What? Oh, you're trying to get the Ozzy. One of our dogs is under my desk by my feet because he knows it's a safe spot where he won't get bothered.
No,
Well.
it's Olive. It's Olive.
Olive's under there?
Yeah. Olive's blue.
Well, if Olive's happy under there, leave her under there.
Now it's cute.
Of course, that pal's going to be right next to the tower we're trying to get to. 0.37. I'm not going to risk that. And Celine here will kick our butt from here to Timbuktu. No, 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 no. No, no, no. No. Okay. You just murdered a robin quill. Oh, we were going to teach Ignis. Where is it? There it is. Just Cinnamoth. There we go. Beautiful. Good job, Cinnamoth. Let's get rid of Poison Fog for Ignis Blast. He's actually got a pretty well-rounded skill set. Alright, well, be a hack. Be a hack. Be a hack. Alright, good job. Oh, and I failed. That's what I get. I'm a failure. Mistakes were made. Ring of water resistance. You know what? That's not a bad one to get. Who do we got over there? We got an Incineram. God, if we could get that. I think that's a little out of our reach right now. Not with a regular sphere. Because look, if we tried with a regular sphere, we would only have, with a back bonus, a 0.91% chance. We got a 3% chance for a Robin Quill. We have 44. Let's give it a shot. Oh, God. Mistakes were made. He's not even letting me try. Oh, God. If I could just get to my bow. I'm only doing 2 damage. Oh, no. Okay. Okay, Sylvages. I see you over there. That was very scary. Random that you decided to help me out. Who's that? That's Azermane, right? Yep. All these aggro bosses, like, right nearby. I'm just trying to find the first boss tower, man. We're gonna try and make it to the reveal tower. Was that a Pangolin? I think that's a Pangolin. It is a Pangolin, and it's low level. Oh, right off the tree. And we got the Pangolin. Yeah. I only suck at the game a little bit. Just grabbing a quick drink, everybody.
I'm already home.
See, this is just torture. All these. Oh, look, it's a Xiaolong. Like, I really just want to try, but I can't. It's just quesadilla. Thank you.
I need to think if the baby would eat it better, but he has no interest.
Oh, we need to get out of here. He will pwn our face, and it won't even be funny. There we go. Really. Level 80 Suzaku. Okay. I see you. Just don't see me, okay? Like, just leave me alone. I'm just a little ant compared to you. All right, let's go. Let's get that. Let's move. Let's move. Hi, Metal Merchant. What do you got? I've got some good items in stock. I know you do. The 2 accessory slots that I need to buy eventually. Yay, we can enhance our capture power a little bit. Alright. Where's that reveal tower? I know I saw the reveal tower. Is Olive still under the desk? Weird. Figured she'd start biting my toes by this point. Normally she gets a little ornery. More Cinnamoth! Let's see, we got a 16 and 17% chance. We got plenty of balls. We'll just completely miss that. Oh, here we go. This one's within range. Like, how did you block 2? Hey, will you stop? Just getting the ball. There's a good Cinnamoth. I am so happy that you learned your lesson. What do we got down here? There's the other Cinnamoth. Appears to be fighting, maybe? A Gangler.
What that devil?
I wouldn't mind. It means that they're an alpha pal, so they're big and scary. Come on, we can do this. Come on. Oh, come on. Of course we would hit the tree there. Why do you keep moving right when I throw the friggin' sphere? Alright. I guess I'm going down there. Oh, that's why. Because he's way down there. We're down to 16. I'm glad I didn't plan on catching any more. Oh my god, really? Yes! Level 12, level 33 mana stings. Yep, that's gonna end well for me. Not! Alright, now where was that tower? I know the tower was around here. I saw it. I saw the tower. Now, where are we? We're over here. There's... I don't know what that is, but no matter what it is, it's outside of... Ooh, Gobfins! I wouldn't mind some Gobfins.
Modifying your code, forming connections with things they should not. Light will have nothing to do with this. Please.
Really? You guys are mean.
Oh, I'm bringing you both back for study. Neither of you needs to be in one piece to do that.
I have one spear left.
You, Otis, recording you.
I will love if that actually captures. It did. Get him, Cinema. Get him.
Shock power?
It is not a dark pal, no.
Not the shock.
We got him. Oh my god, Cinema, that was stupid. What were you thinking? Oh, Cinema, that was so dumb.
Everything I need. All power to exterior.
Forgive me, just give me like 30 more seconds, everybody. I'm shoveling the last taco into my mouth. No. Gervais. No. You're gonna end up in timeout. Alright, I think I was... Hey, will you stop pressing the button? They can't hear me when you press that button. Please stop. Hey,
No.
you're gonna end up in timeout.
No.
Do you want timeout? Oh. I think the hardest part of this is going to be finding the tower. Alright, so we need flame organs. More than likely, we're just going to have to buy them. Where is Olive still under there? Where? Yeah, grab her. If you can. I just don't want to accidentally run her over. That and Buddy's getting all frantic without Olive. she like on my chair? Okay. Put her up there with Buddy. Alright, anyways. So I swear we could see a tower from here, but yeah, it's all the way up there on that cliff. Alright, let's see. How are we doing on food? We've got 202. That's enough for a while. We're gonna borrow. Cinemoth, what happened to you, man? I'm gonna put Pangolin out for water generation. We're gonna switch out a Lambo. We're gonna bring these two Cinemoths with us. Better than nothing at all. Alright. That way if we find the boss, we can... Oh, who is this? Oh, another messenger of love. Are you the same messenger of love, though? Oh, yeah, you are the same messenger of love. She's a messenger of love. The messenger of ooh, ooh, ooh. Alright, we really do need to find that tower, though. Where was it again? All the way... Yep, straight ahead. So, I'm gonna guess it's like over here. It's either here or all the way over here. So we're gonna just put a marker in line, right, or not. Why are you not letting me put a marker? That was weird. It won't let me put a marker. Oh well, c'est la vie. Ooh, what is that? A regular Polypup. Still out of our range, but you know. We're getting stronger. Ooh, more cats. Can never have too many cats. Love kitty cats. Except I have no pal balls. I forgot to make pal balls. Oh no. Especially when I could have caught him.
They're called house fields.
I am well aware they are called pal spheres.
Don't just call them cow balls.
Because they're in the shape of a ball.
I feel the same thing.
Spheres are the same thing, yes. I am allowed to call them what I want to call them. That was rude. That's what you get, cat face. I really want to throw a ball at him, but I have a feeling I will get owned. Do I get bones from these, I wonder?
Is that a cow fossil?
I thought it was, but I guess not. Alright, anyways. We're going straight across this way. We got, what is that, a Masanda? It's Grisbolt's older brother. Or younger brother? I don't know. Maybe his sister? Hey, why are you attacking me? That was so rude. Oh, that was so rude. I was just minding my own business, killing some syndicate thugs, and you're like, I will eat your face.
Maybe you killed its dad.
I didn't kill its dad. Why is it? There we go.
Here's a deal.
Alright, we're gonna check the original location.
One word that has the song.
Who is that? Of course, there's all these things that are gonna eat my face. Here's more Cinnamoths. Ooh, a sweetie! And a Cremis? I forget what Cremis does. We're gonna go for this Cremis. Good Cremis. Of course, there would be a Lily knocked. If I could catch it, I would be excited. Because that is by far the best medicine use. Ooh. I've never actually done an oil rig, believe it or not, everybody. So we might have to go investigate that. Yeah, I forgot our dude makes it so I glide like I float. I don't just fall anymore. Will you let me up the hill? Thank you. I'm curious what pal is up here that would completely murder me. I saw him up here. There he is. Oh, it's a Wixen. Okay. I see you. No pal spheres available. Do I have... Alright, hold on. Let's... We can't be going around without pal spheres. That's just silly. I swear I just heard it. Oh yeah, there's the cats. I was like, I just heard the cat attack. The whoosh, 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 whoosh. You know what I'm talking about? I want that Wixen so bad. But I know if I try for it, I'm gonna get pwned. Slowats. I'm so glad they're not aggro. That's aggro though. Greyhound would kicker my butter. So would he. Why are you being so mean? Why, Gildane, why? Here, aggro this Mycora. Get him, Mycora. Good job. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you protecting me. And of course that guy dropped nothing. And we got more Cinnamoths. I don't think we need any more. If we do, we only need one more. So, oh! Bye, Cinnamoth. Alright, where was I going? Up here. Cinnamoth is angry! Ooh, a Mega Sphere! Alright, we're actually trying to go that way, I think. Yeah, that way. So I'm like backtracking, going the complete wrong way. There's a Walaska Ignis. Makes me drool. What happened to you? What killed you? You're so strong. What in the world could kill you? It's something I need to run away from. I know that much. We're actually going to level up our stamina. We've got some health. The only reason we're getting pwned now is lack Yakumo. Oh, great. That's just what I wanted to see. Huh, Mamarest is actually where Mamarest is supposed to be. That's fun. Oh god, the Lumens hate me. Run! Run! Dodge away! Get him, Mamarest! Get him! Save me from the Lumens! A Gloopy, but level 50 something? That's sad. Oh, Blazema. I would love to get a Blazema, but that's not gonna happen. Jeez, Blazema, man, relax. What's up with you, man? Why are you so angry? He's angry. Brothers of the Eternal Pyre Martyr. Okay. Maybe I'll get lucky and that Dumud will take some decent damage and then I can capture it. Hey, why are you attacking me? Attack that Dumud.
I think that's a bandit.
There you go. Yeah, attack the Dumud. No, stop. Leave me alone. Dumud, man, why are you following me? Is that his Dumud? Oh, that would suck. That's one way to get away from the situation. Just casually yeet.
Wait, was he a thief?
I don't know what he was. That looks like... Is that a reveal tower, or... Oh, it looks like the boss tower is actually in the same location. Yeah, there's a lot of pals I've seen today that I haven't seen before. Oh, I would love to get that Fox Spark Sis Christ. But, oh, 9%? That might be worth the risk.
Fire versus ice.
We're going to give it a shot. Cross your fingers, everybody. 9% chance. Oh, God. And we failed. Oh, God, we failed.
I'm off my fingers.
Come on. Yes! We got him! Oh, we got him. That is a huge one for us. That's an ice pal with decent ice skills.
Auto on the electric type.
Yeah, it's Cellerays. Those are... Oh, those are Celeray Luxes. What's our chance? 6%? I don't think I want to risk that. Not until I go grab that fast travel, at least. That might be worth it, though. That Kelp Sea Ignis, that might be worth the risk. If that was low level, we could risk it for that. I would die over and over to get a Lily Knock this early. That would be huge. Another one that would be huge is one of these guys.
Full tackle?
Turticle. What's our chance? 1%, everybody. Alright. Let's go in here.
Wait, I mean, Jerry, what do you get after defeating the bosses? Like a badge similar to gym badges in Pokemon?
It unlocks you your ability. Well, you get a sphere, and it unlocks your ability to learn different technologies. Alright, so let's enhance our stats. We need some more staminers. We're gonna come in here just so that I don't forget. Beautiful. We'll be able to get this after we beat the tower. Need that. This is good, but we don't really need it right away. What I'm really looking for is right here. The breeding farm. Well, that and fishing. What level do we get fishing? Hit the fishing pond. So 15. Once we hit 15, which I think we're 14. So after this fight, we should be good to go. All right. Cross your fingers, everybody. I should be able to do this. It's not a crazy fight. I've actually done it with a Lamble before.
No, what's that?
So doing it with Cinnamoth should be, I wouldn't say easy, but it's definitely not going to be as hard as doing it with a Lamble. I think the hardest part will be just doing it before the time runs out. Which I don't think we're going to have a problem with. We're 1/6 of the way there, and we're not even 1/6 of the way through our time. I don't even know what Mysterious Scales does, but I guess we're not finding out that time. Yeah, you go and have at it with some Mysterious Scales. Did that poison him? Is that what happened? Let's see how our big glidey friend does. I seem to have a lot of poison damage right now. Well, he's tanking it pretty good. Oh, Lord. Oh. Oh, that one hit me. Must be a poison cloud. That's all I'm coming up with. Cinnamoth, you are just tanking it like a boss. I'm doing like no damage compared to the pals though. Which, you know, is relatively normal for this level. If I'd have took some time and gotten the metal crossbow, that wouldn't be true.
It's the 2-5. So what? Mario went, and that's under. So you can have that.
You gonna use it or what? Oh, I guess he can't use it.
Because
Well, I don't want you to get pwned. I want you to live. Please, just live through the fight. Well, I screwed that up. I didn't want Kilmari to die. It'll be alright. And we got We got the key sphere of envy. Thou shalt not harm pals. And guess what? Some pals are tasty, and it's just a necessity. I'm sorry. You know, a little A1 sauce and grill them up. You got some nice barbecue. Alright, let's get some more staminers. And let's go get our incubator. Love it. We'll get our condenser too. And we got our fishing rod. That's going to help so much. We also got our wheat plantation and mill. That's going to help us make cakes. Make cakes for breeding. Because breeding is going to be a huge help. Alright. That's looking pretty darn good now. And whoop. I was just about to go looking for you, and yet here you come, waltzing up to me. After you pulled... What? After what you pulled last time, you... Wait, is that my key sphere? I thought I lost it. You had it this whole time? You think that it's okay to beat someone down and steal their stuff? Whatever. Just keep it. So yeah, it's a key sphere. My father told me long ago that the 8 towers around the islands each have one sealed away inside. He also said only those with power should wield them. I still believe that. That's why you should keep it since, you know, you challenged me for it, kicked my butt, barely took any damage, and made me look like a tool. Huh? You didn't come to challenge me? You just wanted to talk? Why did you say something sooner? Fine, whatever. The fact is, you ended up beating me, so I'm letting you keep the key sphere. That doesn't mean I think you're worthy of it or anything. I'm just putting my faith in my father's judgment. Okay, you got what you came for, so get out of here. What? What else could you possibly need? What? I'm doing a voice. Yeah, see? He likes my voice. I can't do it in front of Amanda. She looks at me weird, like I'm crazy.
What is this?
It's Pow World. You've only seen me play hours and hours of it.
It reminds me of my game. No.
No, Turticle, no! I don't want to hurt you, man. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I thought they killed my Cinnamoth. I was like, no, Cinnamoth, no. Alright, who's in the box? Who's in the box? I don't know who that is, actually. But we're getting them out. We're saving them. You rescued a pal. A fuddler. I'll take a fuddler.
And honestly, hon, I was sitting here waiting.
Oh!
Never mind.
You were sitting here waiting.
Right. The macaw that I wanted.
Yeah.
Okay. I was weighing all of the things that come with the Onin one. you're going to wind up wanting to choke it because they are very loud and obnoxious.
So I would have a very, very expensive chicken dinner.
Yeah. So I would rather stick with the Amazons that can be fatty, but no.
All right. Now let's make our egg cube. Oh, really? We didn't get any sieve parts from that? Where did we get sieve parts from? I thought we got sieve parts from killing the boss. Wait, we need to go find one more ancient sieve part. And actually, before we do that, can we make our fishing pole?
Yeah.
Not in that one. It's not going to be pal gear, right? Where do we make the fishing pole? I'm going to guess at the high quality workbench. Great. All right. Well, we need to progress a little bit. So we need some flame organs. Oh, Relaxosaurus Lux. That's just not nice. It's a shiny that is so mean, game. That is like the meanest thing you could have done to me right there. You show me a Relaxosaurus, not a Relaxosaurus, but a Hydrolon, a shiny Hydrolon. Like that's just cruel. Cruel and unusual punishment. Can I might be able to catch him. Of course, I don't have my water because I forgot to let him spawn. So we're gonna have to send out Cinnamoth. Where are you going? What pathing is this? He just one-shot Cinnamoth. Oh, that's not good for us. Come on, get lucky. Get lucky. Get lucky. Yes, we got lucky. We got an Arsox super early. At least early for the level that he is, anyway. That was super good for us. We did, like, kill a pal, though. But that is so good for us.
Wait, what's the Fennecate Gunno? Somebody bad?
Yes.
So we're gonna sneak attack him.
How about sneak attacking? That was interesting. I threw a pal ball at him right as he died, and it looked like it hit him and dropped as a mega
Is
sphere.
that a dungeon?
Yes, that's a dungeon. You've seen all this before.
I know.
Then why are you asking questions that you already know the answer to?
Play the game someday.
Okay, but how does asking me questions you already know the answer to
Well, most
help
because,
you to get to play the game someday?
Most because I don't see most of these cows before.
Oh God! Whoa! Hey, that was almost painful. Oh God! I don't know why I just sent that out. Robin quote. I mean, he'll just die. We need to just run.
Dream sun.
Oh, he's knocked out. That's why we're not floating anymore. Another one? Really? You guys couldn't just give me a small break here. Literally coming in here just to see if I can't find a chest with some ancient parts on it. Oh God, I should not have laughed at him. Now he's angry. He's so angry. What are those? We're gonna do a drive-by mining here. I'm just curious, what is it, just ore? Yeah, it's just ore. Just looks different in the cave for some reason. Must be the lighting, you know? Run, Forest, run! Ooh. Oh, I don't have my fishing pole yet. That would have been, ooh, look at this. Look at what I found.
What?
Looky, looky, I got a hooky.
It could be one of those chest pals.
No, it's not. They look completely different. And of course, you don't have any ancient parts for me. Why would you? It's only what I need. Am I gonna be able to climb out of here? I should be able to. Just keep climbing, just keep climbing. I'm like Dora the Climb Spora.
That didn't look.
Up we go. Up, up, and away. Just think happy thoughts. Another robin quill. Oh, I wouldn't have minded grabbing that chickpea. Ooh, chickpeas. Give me the chickpea. No, don't you shoot my chickpea. That is my chickpea. I need the eggs. Where did you go, chickpea? I just wasted a green sphere on you. Now I'm angry. Stop moving so quickly. There we go. Oh my lord. That chickpea made me work for it too. He was like the gingerbread man from Shrek. Not my gumdrop buttons. Alright. Let's go this way now. Fairly certain this is the way that we haven't gone yet. Do do do. Ooh. I see the light. No, turn it off. Try to go to bed here, man. Alright. I know we have enough Lambos. We don't need any more Lambos. More robin quills. More Lambos. I don't need any more Lambos. And I would love to catch the robin quill, but I am not high enough gear. I'm high enough level. I don't have enough high enough gear to catch him. Alright. Now there should be a chest at the end here. If not more than one. And hopefully we will get an ancient tech part from it. We got, what, is that King Paka? Oh, that's Melpaka.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't mind getting a Melpaka. Melpaka's a good pal early on. Gives you wool. Come here. Come here.
Nice now, Pekka. We don't want to hurt you.
There we go. We got him. Do, 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 do.
Wait, its long legs can send you flying wall to the other side of the world.
Really? No ancient parts. Alright, I got them from somewhere. I don't care. It's good enough. It's good enough for me, everybody. Alright, where are we at? Oh, we're like right close to the base. I thought we were close to... Alright. Ooh. We got 5 spheres. And I would love to have a dire wolf for something to ride.
You want a dial howl?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Should have got a bonus just for how, like, sniper rifle like that shot with the PAL ball was. Floppy and a dire howl. Let's see what that Walaska is. What level is he? 80! Never mind. Oh, Tyrantris. Oh, I want one so bad.
What was my
But it's too high. Oh, maybe we can, yeah, trick it. Come on, hit. Yes! Good job, Turticle. Hit him again. Come on, hit Tyrantris again. Do it. I just got a green Palsphere, didn't I? I didn't. I'm out of room. That's why I didn't pick it up. Oh no.
doesn't the green
Uh.
power go in your world?
There we go. There it is.
Wait, I thought the green power spear would go in the world.
Alright, where'd you go, Tyrantris? Come on, give it to me. Give it to me. Please give it to... No! Oh, I wanted that Tyrantris. Oh, she would have been perfect for my berry plantations. And she's gonna die to Masanda. Oh, sad face. Alright, let's get my 2 pals healing. You need to come back with me. Let's see. You are practically useless. I mean, not for when I need to go farm wood on my own, but... You, however, are not anywhere near useless. You don't even have fire. I don't know why was thinking Cinnamoth was fire. That's weird. Cinnamoth makes you think fire, right? I don't know. But this does increase farm suitability. Let's get the base leveled up. All right. What do we need? A crusher, a stone pit, and a logging site. Crusher, stone pit, logging site. So we need palladium, and that's it. Palladium and wood. At some point, we picked up a grenade. I don't know why I decided to do a stone pile. That was silly. Orsurk is still here. And so is that Capriti Noct. I think it's because I built the base here. I think they're like permanently here now. I mean, until I capture them or kill them, one of the two. Well, there's this guy still here. Alright. So we can build the stone site now. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to do this right by the beds. We'll do stone right there. And then what are we missing for the... Oh, no. 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 That's not good. I didn't even hit him with it. All my pals are dead. I have to draw them away from the base. That's the first time he's come that close to the base. What is casting that giant shadow? Why did he not follow me? He's eating the guy. Well, that's just rude. I didn't realize that pal ate humans. Definitely need to get some defenses out there, so we're gonna go out here. Of course, I don't have enough wood. That figures. Oh, man. Alright. King Paka. What do? You're really good. You're in my team, because I need to build a saddle for you. Chickpea. Get you out there. Get you out there for watering. Don't you come over here, Orsurk. You've been really mean to me today. I don't need you to be mean anymore, okay? You just stay back there. Come on. Alright, good Orsurk. I will get some walls up so that you can't see what's going on out here. You just be patient. You just be a patient boy. Yeah. How much wood do we need for the... Oh, we got enough wood now. Okay. We're going to put that right next to this. And And then we're going to put some storage right next to all of those. We're going to do one here and one here. I know this is a terrible layout right now, but we will fix it. Alright, now we need a primitive this. So we need wood and flame organs. How much monies do we have? We got 13K. That's not bad at all. 13K is very respectable. Oh, you know what? I'm being silly. What do we need for this? Blue thing. We're gonna go this way down the beach. Because I really don't want to aggro Orthos again. Where's Buddy?
Sure, but yeah, then I have that.
55s. The one thing I'm noticing about the randomizer is it feels like there is a lot more higher level pals. I mean, I'm not complaining per se. Just making an observation. Alright, we need a crusher. We need our incubator first. Before anything else, we're building our incubator.
Incubator?
Yep, it's my incubator. It's an egg incubator. An incubator. Ooh, a flame bell. That's a good one. Tombat's not bad. Do I have any more eggs? I wonder. No. We are going to need those potato seeds and those lettuce seeds, and definitely going to need the tomato seeds. There we go. All right, let's get... Let's see if we can't find the settlement. The settlement's usually right over here. Yeah. All right, we're going to head to the small settlement. We're going to buy us some flame organs and whatever we need for the fishing pole. Now we're going to get some more staminers. Get our mega shield. Our cooking pot.
Tango rocket launcher?
Yes, but I don't want it. I don't like using it.
Why? Did it
It's
injure you?
not good for me. It's not how I like to play. A viewing cage? Oh, I know what I could use that for. Alright, that's good. Now let's get to the small settlement, which is right down there. So southwest. Oh, there's another RSOX. We don't have any greens. It's only a 6% capture rate. I really don't feel like dying right now. What What else does it take to make the fishing pole? I've got the aquatic pal fluid, so yeah, all I need to do is make some ingots. Kelp seed? Why do I feel like that's an important one for me to get? What are you? Oh, you're like a seahorse.
Aw, Kelsey.
Oh, Shadowbeak, really? Why?
Kelsey, the
Just,
seahorse.
just why are you so mean to me, Shadowbeak? Why
Yep.
can't you just leave me alone?
Whoa. Water and dragon. Okay, we want the water and dragon thing.
I just gotta keep running.
Ah.
You know,
I know
just
that
pretend
water
that I'm
and dragon
Forrest
power.
Gump.
I know what's that like water and dragon power.
Coda, I'm currently being chased by a lot of things. Do you really believe now is a good time for a question?
Sorry.
Alright, we need to get across this little gap here. Oh, a Tyrantris. Oh, man. Tortures me every time I see a Tyrantris. Because it's one of the, like, there's a 2-pal combo that's just, like, perfect for running your gardens for you. And one of the two is Tyrantris. Alright, we should be, oh, Scorching Egg, yes! What a find! What a find! Yes, baby. Oh, Robin Colt, level 30. What is with them all being alphas? That's what I want to know. Why are they all alphas? Alright, we made it. We're here. Now we can get the fast travel point and never have to, like, hurt ourselves to get here ever again. Oh, look at this guy. I want him so bad. A level 16. But I think I would make everybody angry if I tried to capture him. Maybe on our way out. How's that sound? We'll try to capture it on our way out.
Ah, let's take the top. Did somebody do something wrong? Seriously. Huh, a little
Alright, homie. We need some flame organs. We're gonna buy 20. Anything else we need? Nope. I think we got a pristine, precious something. Simple baits. Why do I have 2 simple bait stacks? That's silly. Alright, horn. We want to keep horn for medicine. There it is. That's what we want to sell. We don't care about that. I don't really care about that. I do want to hold on to that for now. And I don't use guns, so we're going to sell those. Beautiful. Bye. We're going to grab... We'll grab milk. Grab 30 milk and like 10 eggs. Beautiful. And just in case I haven't gotten any yet, we're going to grab 5 wheat seeds. Or we're going to grab 12 wheat seeds. I think I've gotten some, but you know, better safe than sorry. I don't care about that guy right now. Innkeeper, where is our pal guy? The guy that sells pals. It's not in there. I can tell you that much. Aw, what happened to you? He didn't even get mad. Okay. What if I capture this one? Will you get mad then? Really? Well, that was just rude. 2 headshots at 17%, and you're like, no. Just no. It's alright, though. There we go. It's only enough for 6 ingots, but I think that gets us the fishing pole. Alright, let's get this egg hatching.
So, you can't have that.
Beautiful. We got a fox sparks.
No, no.
It's not a bad pal to get, honestly. We're gonna put this one back and bust out our water guy. Mainly because he makes us able to travel more efficiently right now. And let's see what we need for the... Didn't mean to do that. We need some wood, and we can make a saddle. We'll be able to get around faster. Yay! Just keep swinging. Oh, the weapons damage, that's why. I'm like, why is it taking so long? That's because your weapon, it's damaged. Yeah.
I'll put my two. Blocking the guy. You're weird, mister. I'm going to go to DJ, so I'm putting on shoes. What?
Roof, roof, he says.
Okay.
Repair all. Yes, please. Let's come over here. And boom, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Dire Howls, saddled harness. Let's go. Alright.
Water.
Arsox, what are you doing, dude? Nothing, because you're not even deployed right now. That makes a lot of sense. I was like, why is he not over there burning up some ingots?
I'm gonna go check on you.
Okay.
I've got them.
Alright.
Hold on.
So we need 2 more ingots for that, and we need nails. Alright, well we can at least get some nails going. And then we can go find some ore. I swear there was an ore node on this island.
As,
I don't know why I'm running around
can you
like
get him
myself
something
now.
here? One, two.
Never say no to some coins.
I need to find my towel since, you know, you. Ezra, really?
Swim, Wolfie, swim.
You can come over here and find something to wipe the floor up. Because I didn't
Mamorous Christ, and it's only level 41. We're getting good here. It's turning out pretty good. We got a Syndicate Gunner. If he doesn't aggro, I'm not gonna mess with him. What is this? I guess this is a dungeon spot, but like it's not active? Oh, I would love to have that Broncherry Aqua. But it's level 80 alpha. Everything in its mother appears to be alpha. Look at this guy. Would love to catch him too. Let's see if we get lucky. Of course not. Can never be that lucky. I can't say that. We had a couple really lucky ones. Oh, we do not want to piss off Anubis. You cannot run away from Anubis. Anubis is like, you're mine forever.
Come. I'm saying you're going to
A Fellbat.
war.
Run! Run, Dire Howl, run! You are faster than the wind. Faster than a speeding bullet. You leap tall buildings in a single bound. Oh, wait, that's Superman. Alright, what do you guys got for me? Who are you? You're a pal merchant. I mean, I could, let's, you got a wandering merchant and a pal merchant. Let's see. Let's grab a few spheres before we look at, we only have 5,000, so we're going to look at the pal merchant first. What do you got for me? I would have loved to get that Nightwing. Herbal's not a bad option. But Herbal's not so needed that I'm willing to give up the pal spheres I'm about to buy. So we're just gonna buy a bunch of pal spheres. What in the world is that thing? I literally came out here looking for ore. An Elgrove Crest. I didn't even know what an Elgrove was. A Univolt. Oh, egg! Give me the egg! Egg. That's what I'm Ow! Ow! What are you doing to me, child? Why you gotta beat your dad out? Oh, what are you doing? Why are you beating dad up? Wait, level 40? I am not ready for that. Supply drop. B guards, but they're all 30s. What is attacking me? Really? We're gonna try and just sneak in here. No. Can you just let me get in here? Thank you. Take all. Now let's get out of here. Ugh. I'm throwing it at your back. How are you blocking? Oh, yes, baby, that's huge. It is so huge for us to get a B guard right now. No, don't kill the Ribunny. Oh, you killed the Ribunny. Why did you guys have to do that? That was not a very nice thing to do. It's alright. We got a B guard, which is huge. That gives us honey generation. Alright, let's get them all aggroed. We're gonna run around this Yormantide. Alright, good job, Dire Hal, for being a sacrificial pawn. Hey, I got them both before I died. We succeeded! We did it! Woo! It's one way to do it, right? We didn't accomplish our goal. We went out there for ore. We came back with more pals. Which I can't complain about. We got a Jolt Hog Christ, which has freeze, which but we got a actual Jolt Hog as well. That's interesting. You can throw the Jolt Hogs. That's super interesting. I just noticed our Gobfin is a rainbow Gobfin. That's interesting. Alright. We don't need Lambo out right now. So we're going to take Lambo out. We're going to put B-Guard out. And we're going to assign B-Guard to the darn ranch. There we go. Who else do we need? I'm setting us up to get resources while we... Oh, there's our Moo guy. Let's see. Moo guy, what else can you do? Nothing. You're just a rancher. You're only water guy. So, we really just need to upgrade the base at this point. So, let's build a crusher. So, we got a mill, crusher. We need wood, stone, and we need everything. We need it all. Have you guys been mining at all? No. Have you been logging at all? No. You guys are slacking. How dare you guys not have this all ready for me? Oh, I am so offended. So offended. Oh, we got enough ore for 1 ingot. Hey, it's better than no ingots. Jeez, I have so much crap on me. Oh, actually, hey, let's use these potions. Yes, please. And yes, please. Thank you. Sort. Hey, we even have some crude oil for later. Great grilled gale claw. Let's eat some of that. Let's see. Oh, we did get a damp egg. Let's go ahead and hatch that to see what we get. It's a large one. We got a Pen King. Pen King's not a bad one for breeding. Like, he has some pretty good stuff for breeding. Let's see. This guy is 2 watering. Pen King. Where are you, Pen King? There you are. 2 watering, but he has mining too. I think we're going to switch him out. What is Swift anyway? Movement speed. Yeah, I don't really care. Oh, our socks must have heard that I needed wood. Z is out here like going ham. You know, I had a mod in. They're supposed to make it so that I'm weightless inside of my base. But it doesn't look like it's working. When did I get Gigaspheres? Yo, I got Gigaspheres. We're going to be able to get some good potent pals with that. Yes, I know I'm weighed down. Yes, yes, yes. Alright, what are we missing? We need a crusher. We need to crush some stuff with a crusher. Before we do that, though, we're going to build out some more foundations. There we go. Now, production, crusher. We'll put the crusher right behind. There we go. We want it just like this. Beautiful. Oh, that's interesting. Alright. Don't want to use the crusher yet, but we have the crusher. Do I have any other eggs? We got regular eggs. Alright. Anyways. What are we waiting on for the base? Oh, we did it. Primitive furnace, statue of power, and a hot spring. Well, before I do that, let's see. We got fire and logging. We got all of those. We're missing electricity, but we currently don't need it. So we're going to put out Maz here, whose only job is ranching. So we're not even going to have to bother assigning her to ranching. Chickpea does some stuff, but that's okay. How are we doing on stuff? Alright. Looking a lot better. What am I overweight from? That's the question. Sort. We've got 258 in wood. And that must be what's... And a ton of nails. Nails? Really? Alright. Put the wood and stone in there. Put the fiber in there. We'll put some organs in there. I think that looks pretty good.
Does this actually?
I don't know if it works. I mean, I know it works. I don't know if it has fuel.
Because the baby brought it to me and went, haha, fire.
Trying to remember how to work it. Yeah, it works.
Okay, yeah, put that up, please. Hey,
Yeah, as a child safety, there's no way that he could do anything with it. It's hard for me to use.
fire.
That's scary.
Right?
Alright, hold on. What are we doing now? Need a statue of power and a hot spring. Need palladium. Hey, what are you doing with my screwdriver? You know, you are a menace. You know that? Oh, no, God. No, 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 no. Don't come over here. Don't come over here. Don't come over here. No, he came over. Why? Orzerk, why? Why are you so mean? And they're all dead. And I'm dead. Orzerk's so mean. I really need to get that barrier built so that he can't come in and see us. Oh, and he did a lot of damage too. That's not good. Definitely not thrilled about that. Yeah, go cats. Go repair stuff. He's freaking putting the fires out. What is happening? Where did all the cats go? Where did all the cats go? Oh, this is frustrating. We're going to alt F4 this. And hopefully it hasn't saved since the disaster that is Orzerk. Hey, no. Do you want to go in timeout? Do you want to go in timeout? I'm gonna die you in a second. Honey, can you put something on TV? Just give me a second, everybody. I'm just getting it loaded back up. Yes, you're adorable, okay? I hear that you're adorable. I feel that you're adorable. But you are literally taking my desk apart. Uh, which one is newer?
Yeah, go up there.
All right. there a reason you're being so loud? Oh my god, bird. Nope, didn't save it in time, so we're gonna have to rebuild everything, it seems. Which really sucks. Let's see if we can't put some of these fires out. Oh, and all my cats are gone. Like, I had 3 cats out in a Pangolin, and they're just gone. Like, completely disappeared. Oh, they're sitting on the floor for some reason. That is so weird. Pangolin, go put out some more fires. Cat boys, go fix something. Oh, we lost like everything. Except for the stuff I had floating, which is actually kind of convenient. Freaking Orzerk.
Road Ranger.
Oh, hey, look, my tattoo mod is working now. My character looks a whole lot better. Ugh.
That's my thing.
Oh, I just wasted a giga on that. See, yeah. See, inside my base, weightless. Outside of my base, not weightless. Because the game's too easy if you're weightless everywhere.
Dakota was sitting in my spot, wasn't she?
Not that I'm aware of.
It's all wet. My whole entire spot.
I'm sorry. Come on, I've only got one more sphere left. Yes! Good job, my friends. Oh, I really want to try for the turtle, but I think that's a mistake. I think that's a big mistake. See, we have like nothing left. Oh, my poor base. It's alright. We can just rebuild. Really? Oh, I can actually get the lower ones rebuilt. That's good. Alright, before we do anything else, though, we're going to go out here, and we're going to build our little barrier. I think Orzerk's gone, but we're going to do it anyway. Oh, there we go.
My mother rushed forward and slapped Jerry across the face.
Okay. That was weird.
She couldn't say a word. My father's expression darkened as doubt went into his eyes. Shooters became the rulers of the continent. Their bloodlines were divided into 6 ranks.
Come on.
Silver, legendary Bliss woman had not been seen for over 1,000 years. Even violent were only born once in a few centuries.
All right, now we can start to rebuild.
Silver wolves stood at the top. Blacks were at the very bottom. To my father, the bloodline was thin. He was a silver wolf, and all his children were golden. When I was born, a celestial woman appeared, shimmering light from the sky. As a castle that lasted all night, her lucky people was a blessing from the goddess. My mother was brother.
Kind of a neat thing. Having the smaller one on top of the bigger one. It's kind of neat. Wait a minute, I thought I built a ranch over there.
Ezra!
Oh, yeah, because I took down the thing. Yep, that makes sense.
Can you put Babaloo up there?
All right, now. Why are those degrading? All right, that's weird. I've got structures that are degrading for no reason. They're all degrading. They still on fire? Is that what's going on? That was messed up. Everything was still on fire.
That changed everything. Like,
Spoken of as extravagant. She walked around the castle like she was already inside. Lydia, why are you still here? You should leave. You shamed the royal family enough.
All right, you guys done extinguishing everything? Looks like you're done extinguishing. Good work. All right. What do we got? A 2 water? You're a 1 water. I don't want you out there. All right, you're good at gardening. I want you out there. I want you in the ranch. I want you in the ranch. I want You and the ranch.
No. Go put it away.
And I want you out because you'll also mine. Oh Lord, sorry for the temper tantrum.
Hey, here. All over fucking Cool Whip.
Why do we have Cool Whip out?
Because I want it Cool Whip. Is that okay?
I mean, that's fine. Just usually it's smart to wait for bedtime.
You got mad because I put it away.
Thus why it's smart to wait for
Yes.
bedtime.
So did you figure out what we're doing tonight?
No, I haven't even thought about it yet. Do you have any ideas?
I don't want that. I made dinner and I spoiled your ass rotten.
It's date night. We're supposed to do something fun that we both enjoy. If I just choose it, that doesn't guarantee that you're going to enjoy it. If we do it together, then that guarantees that we're both going to enjoy it.
Uh-uh. Look, stop. Look, here, bud.
All right, so we need more beds. Need the more beds. I love the tattoos. What?
Look.
Nah. You sure that's good for him?
Small moderations as a treat. No more or less.
Well, I mean, no more. You can always do less. We definitely want the Ring of Mercy. Definitely want that. That'll make our lives a lot easier. We definitely want that. You sent her to the store without telling me? Because I wanted soda.
You went through 3 things of soda?
Yeah.
Do I have to go back to
Please.
I go through like one a day.
No. Because then we would have to buy one for everybody.
Buy one what?
A toy, a Pokeball thing.
Oh. I mean, how much is the Pokeball thing? It's 20?
I won't get it.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't have $20 in your allowance. Like, you've only got 6 right now. So if you want to get a toy that's $6, that's your own money, and you can do whatever you want with it. But damn, $20 at Dollar General?
Yep.
That's nuts.
Everything's going up.
That is nuts to me. I'm gonna try and fit a bed right in the middle there.
They go up everywhere. Honey,
Yes.
do you like one?
On what?
The pecan swirl?
Pecan swirl.
Yeah. Not as swirly.
Nah. Sure. I'm not big on nut cookies, but I'll give it a. Oh, it's a pecan cinnamon roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad.
Headache hit me out of
Knew that was coming. What is that? I don't know what that is. Let's see. What am I looking for? I think the wooden bench is shorter. Let's have a look. So that's the stool. So they're about the same. I should be able to do 4 tall. Of course I would run out of wood. Because why wouldn't I? You know what I forgot? I forgot to put our socks back out. That's who I need out. Our socks, go do your thing, man. Go do some things. Alright, and we also needed this back out, but we need wood.
Ezra, what are you doing? Get the fuck out. No.
What was he doing?
Eating everything and anything. 9 out of 10, I go in there, my Cool Whip's gonna be gone.
You should go look and find out, because if that's what he did, then he needs to
I'm
go.
gonna be whipping his ass.
Well, you're going to be sending him to his room.
Oh, I'm saying, anger.
Go check your
I